Hey guys, welcome back to the Adler podcast. Today is episode 15. And yes, we have for you another special episode today. I welcome special guest Francesca Vella back on the show. Francesca, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm excited to get this conversation started. I'm like I said, I'm going to have a lot of opinions. Let's see.
Francesca, I wanted to ask you, how does it feel doing this online and not in person? Because the first time you were on was in person.
I mean, in person's always much easier. I mean, it's more fun, I guess, as well, but it's also a lot easier. I feel like when you're online, you end up inadvertently interrupting people and like jumping on each other's conversation, but it's fine. I mean, it's more convenient. I have my pasta right next to me, which is nice.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But since we're online, obviously, we can involve the one and only Joe Paolella in the show. So, Joe, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm very good, especially after last night. I'm in high spirits, which I have a reputation for rarely being in on this podcast already. Only 15 episodes in.
Big sigh of relief.
Yes.
I'm sure most viewers know why that is the case. But in a bit, obviously today we're going to have quite a packed episode, so we'll try to keep it as efficient as possible because yesterday something quite relevant happened in the world of cinema. And obviously here we're talking about the 95th Academy Awards ceremony, which we'll obviously be talking about and delving into in detail. I'm curious to see and hear Francesca's thoughts, because obviously we haven't had a lot of time to talk about that. So obviously today, the episode, as always, is going to be split up into 3 parts. We're going to start off with the first part, in which we'll talk about what we've been up to in the past couple of weeks or so. Then we'll get into the news, and that obviously will be the time also when we talk about the Oscars. Finally, we have some short reviews for you. Joe has a very positive review about 65 to give us. And I'll be talking about Scream 6. I'll be talking about very, very quick spoiler-free episode review of episode 9 of The Last of Us, and I'd also like to give you a really quick review on Poker Face. Francesca, anything you'd like to talk about that you've been watching about, by the way?
Let's see. I'm mentally removing all of the reality TV shit that I've been watching, which has been an embarrassing amount. But I've heard, Joe, that you also watch a little bit.
Yes, I was going to say, please don't. I actually... This is confession time again. My girlfriend and I started Perfect Match on Netflix, which is basically it's like basically it's like the Oscars, but for everyone who's been on a reality TV show on Netflix. So it's people from like Too Hot to Handle, from Love Is Blind.
Wait! It's like the Oscars. It's like the Oscars for anyone who's been on a reality show.
But specifically from Netflix, though. So basically it gets people back who are single again, and now they need to find their perfect match with someone who's already been on a reality show. It's very good so far. We finished part 1. I can't wait for part 2.
By very good, what do you mean?
It's no Too Hot to Handle, but it's good trash television. Like it fills a Too Hot to Handle sized hole in my heart.
In fact, that's what I just started watching.
You did?
Yeah. not the Perfect Match, it's Too Hot to Handle. So when I started on the reality TV train...
Wait, I don't think it's this.
No, it's not.
No, that's a TV movie, yeah, that's the
one, yeah, with Nick Lachey.
Yeah.
6.0 out of 10 is a criminal rating for that show. It's a straight 9.
So first I started with Love Is Blind, and then when I saw like trailers of Too Hot to Handle, I'm like, yo, this is too low. I would never go there. And last weekend I was in London with my friends, and the morning after a party we were just very tired and didn't feel like doing much. So a friend of mine was like, oh, why don't we just watch Too Hot to Handle? And we're like, fine, whatever, put it on, we're going to hate it anyway. And then we were hooked. We watched about 5 episodes.
It's so good.
Jesus, 4.7.
It's so good to just watch beautiful idiots try not to sleep with each other. It's
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I needed it in my life.
This is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Andrea,
4.7 is a criminal rating. It's a straight 10 on 10, 11 on 10.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment here, guys. I avoid
Andrea's
any
silently
kind
judging us.
of reality TV.
Judge
I'm going to be honest with you guys.
You're the guy that watched Willow.
Oh, yeah, that's at least a series. So is this.
That is also
By the way, Joe,
series.
an actor from Willow appeared in Scream.
Oh, really?
Yes.
They have actors in Willow?
They have actors in Willow.
Okay.
Or let's say a person from Willow appeared in Scream as well. It's actually not too bad in Scream. Much better than his performance in Willow.
That's good, at least.
Yeah. So yeah. Anything else, Francesca? Not reality TV
related. I was
related.
thinking about. It's funny. I'm going to get like the worst impressions. But in the same day when we're watching these Too Hot to Handle episodes, I was also made aware of the fact that I have never watched Coyote Ugly, and so I also watched that. But no, I mean, other than that, it's been pretty much catching up with the Oscar films I hadn't watched yet. I really wanted to make sure that I watched all of the best pictures at least before the awards, and I managed all of those except Avatar. But yeah, no, other than that, I wouldn't say. I have next on my watch list is scenes of a marriage. I don't know if either of you have seen that.
The Ingmar Bergman one or the TV remake?
No, the TV remake.
I have seen it. It's very good.
Is it good?
Yes, I really liked it.
I like Jessica Chastain a lot, so I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
I love Jessica Chastain. She said, Andrea and I agreed last week that we want Cate Blanchett to be our mother. I would also happily have Jessica Chastain be my mother. So.
And I'd happily be siblings in this family. Yeah, for sure.
You see, Franco thought we were weird when we said that, but you get it. So you're A-okay in my books.
No, he didn't think we were weird. I think he was deep down. He knew we were right, as in.
Yeah, I think he was jealous.
Wouldn't want to have Cate Blanchett as their mom and Pedro Pascal as their dad. Remember that as well. Oh, anything else, Francesca? So you want to tell us about that you've been watching?
Not really. I think it pretty much has been the Oscar films, which I will be talking about at length soon enough. So, I can stop there.
Okay, dokies. Joe, what about you? What have you been up to this week?
I wanted to be like again a lot better this week and be like really on it in terms of watching stuff. I did manage to watch 65. Somehow I don't know why I did that to myself. I still haven't finished Succession, but I'm saving that for this weekend. I had a busy weekend this weekend. I had 3 friends over from Ireland, so I was like hosting. But no, I don't. I actually did watch. I'm doing an Evil Dead rewatch, but in a really weird way. So I found a Blu-ray of the 2013 remake, and I bought that, and I already had the trilogy. And I decided to watch the 2013 remake first in my rewatch of the Evil Dead series.
2013 first? Okay. I haven't watched that yet, Joe. So.
Yeah, it's... I can admire that they, like, Fede Alvarez went for a really big swing with it, because, like, he really fucking goes for it, especially from, like, a blood and gore perspective. And I can understand wanting to try and make it a bit more actual horror than, like, the kind of tongue-in-cheek kitschy stuff that Evil Dead is, but it's just a bit too stupid. Like, it's really cliche horror stupid, but it's okay. I'm doing it because, like, as much as like I tell myself I'm going to go and see Evil Dead Rise when it comes out in cinemas. Like,
definitely.
I won't be able to help myself. So
I
thought I'd
on this
those.
topic. On this topic, did they say whether you'll need to watch the 2013 movie? Like,
I imagine you would, because like you kind of need to know like what's going on now with like the Necronomicon and stuff like that. I imagine you would need some form of background. I also think if you've seen The Evil Dead and you know the basics, it's a book that drives everyone insane. then yeah, you should get it.
All right. Was that it, Joe?
Yeah, that's pretty much it from me. I'll be watching The Last of Us after this, as I usually do on my Mondays. I'm trying to think. No, I rewatched because my friends who were over, they hadn't seen it. Dread, and I realized I love that movie.
Ooh, nice.
Very, very fun film.
Judge Dredd. Now, in my case, I've also been quite busy, but I did manage to watch some stuff here and there. First of all, like I said, I finished Poker Face, which was the Ryan Johnson produced series. I'll talk a little about that later, but very positive vibes from it. I just finished The Last of Us. Watched the last episode just now, like 20 minutes ago. I've been spending some time with the Scream franchise. I watched Scream 5, which I hadn't. To be honest, the only Scream I had ever watched was Scream 1. I might have watched 2 as well, but to be honest, even 3, but I didn't even check them out. But I watched Scream 5, which I thought was good. And on Saturday, I went to watch Scream 6 at the cinema. And I did quite enjoy it, and that will be another review. I watched The Whale with my family, and I'm going to be honest, as a movie, I have question marks about it. I had some issues, especially, like, what's the point of it being a movie? It's just a play, basically. I don't know. I love the performance, and we'll get into the awards and whatnot, but I'm very happy about that award. I thought that Sadie Sink was very, very good as well. Very good, but yes, I really liked her.
Damn, I thought she was the weakest part of that film, but we'll get to that.
Really? No, yes. I loved her. I loved Sadie Sink because I really, really liked her performance. I thought she did like a whiny, annoying teenager really well.
Yeah,
I think she hit all the right spots.
I really didn't like the character in that film. I thought it was just very poorly done. But anyway,
I spend a lot of time with whiny teenagers, and I think she hit like all the right spots and all the.
That's true, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe you're a bit desensitized, so. Whereas Joe is less used to whiny teenagers.
Yeah, fair enough. True. But yeah, I really, really liked her performance. As in, to be honest, there was Hong Chao was very good as well. But I really liked Sadie Sink, and obviously, But as a movie overall, though, I wasn't too impressed. Though, I remember you liking it quite a bit, right, Joe?
Overall, yeah, it does have some pretty glowing issues, but overall, I did like it. I like it mainly because of the central performance. It is 100% Brendan Fraser's film. Like he carries.
No, Brendan Fraser. Hats off, excellent performance.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm upset about is that like the best moment was in the trailer.
Yeah, that was yeah. I agree
why
with
did
you
they
there.
do that? Like putting the best moment in the trailer. I can't stand that. I really can't stand them. Like putting the best moment in the trailer. And that moment was very powerful. But I was like, I've already seen this in the trailer. I shouldn't have seen this in the trailer. Fuck.
No, I agree.
I hate that. Anyway, so that was The Whale. That's pretty much my week, to be honest. Yeah, so that's my week. So guys, I think it's time for the news. But before we get into it, since Franco isn't here, don't forget to leave a like, guys. Comment. Let us know what you've been up to in the past week. Let us know in the comment section below, because now it's time for the news. And big news today. Right, perfect timing for this news to come out. And we've got some local shit to talk about today. Because quite a big, controversial piece of news has come out about the film commissioner, Johann Grech, and his, surprise, IMDb portfolio, which has, how many was it, Francesca? Like we said, 60 something movies?
63 on the article.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it now. There's additional crew 39.
63.
He's a producer of 1. Tanks 24. I mean, the tanks is fine, as in I don't mind the tanks. But the additional crew 1... Question mark. Let's get into the article and then I'll ask for your reactions to that. So first of all, Film insiders have questioned why Johann Grech is credited with 64 film productions on a popular online movie database when he's merely serving as Malta's film commissioner. Grech has been linked to 64 productions on his IMDb page, an online database, blah, blah, blah. We all know what IMDb is. Except for one, each of the credits list Grech as production support, Malta Film Commissioner for films and TV series like Jurassic World Dominion, TLOU, and Foundation. Of Grech's 63 commissioner credits, exactly 24 are listed under thanks, while the remaining 39 list him as an additional crew member. He obviously gave no reaction to it so far. I liked the comment that you mentioned before, Francesca, when we were talking about it, that, this is... this is kind of embarrassing for us as a country, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't happen anywhere else except for in Malta. There was a mention also of the British film commissioner.
When you compare it to the British film commissioner, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, who's been there for 19 years. He's held the position for 19 years, and he's credited as a writer-producer for 2 episodes of the British Arts television show Arena and 6 special thanks credits. And our commissioner has been there since 2017, and he's got all these credits. So clearly, the film commissioner has a future insight in film. I would imagine that's one of the thoughts behind this. Francesca, your thoughts on this?
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to comment without having the concrete knowledge of how much he actually helped out in any of these films, right? I would have that knowledge for only a couple of the films mentioned. I know it wasn't the case, whether it's a special thanks and I mean, from the information that's given in the article, he wasn't really involved in any way. That being said, it stinks, obviously, and what you said, Andrea, about maybe the special thanks is excusable only if he actually did something worth thanking. Yeah, I don't know. I'm frustrated. I'm also a bit disillusioned by this point. And having been through the process of putting credits on IMDb myself, I know that it's not the most straightforward of processes. It's not as easy as putting stuff on a Wikipedia page, for example. So it feels even worse that someone's been through this process. They went through the hassle of doing this for this agenda. So yeah, more fuel to the fire.
All right, Joe, go ahead.
My thoughts. I'll try to think about what I say to avoid being a bit too spicy. Because we have, being frank, tried to invite the film commissioner onto this podcast just to talk to him about all things film in Malta. But it's not right. It is definitely unethical. As Francesca said, the thanks, okay, he is the Malta film commissioner, but are you're doing your day job, which you're meant to do if you're kind of bringing films here and promoting films in the country. You can expect a special thanks on every bloody production that comes here. And the additional crew thing, shit, unless this guy is down there and he's doing crowd control or he's actually helping out on set, I'm sorry, why the hell are you getting an additional crew thing? You have 63 credits on your IMDb page. It looks like what you said before, Andrea. It looks like that this guy is kind of buffing up his CV in order for a bigger future, probably what it's looking like in some kind of production company or something like that. And this is not the way to do it, to have a government position and buff up your CV that way. If you want to be the film commissioner and then you want to also produce films on the side to build a production career, okay, but actively do it. Don't do it from sitting down as the film commissioner. Go and have then a side gig as an actual film producer and actually help locals get their fucking films off the ground and get made, help young students make their short films, you know, help locals make a feature film. And yes, then, because you've actually been a producer, you get the producer credit. Fine. Go and be a fucking gaffer, or as I was on TLOU, a coffee bitch, basically. You know, it's such, like, working on a film set is such a competitive world, but also such a team environment. I feel like it's such a disrespect to anyone that also worked on those productions that, again, yes, okay, he's a film commissioner, he's responsible for everything involving film in the country. He obviously liaises with these production companies to bring these productions in, but that doesn't make you additional crew or a producer. Okay, you get the odd special thanks here and there. Like, we just saw the example with the English film commissioner, you know? He's been there 19 years and he had, what, 3-4 credits of special thanks? It's dodgy.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely dodgy. I don't know. It'll be interesting to hear a reaction from him and see, you know, what the thought behind this was. I think clearly it's, for me, it's clearly self-promotion and he has a future in film in mind. But like you said, Joe, I mean, you actually have to do something in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's been a big campaign recently. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Joe, there's been a big campaign about pushing like teens towards jobs in films.
Yeah.
But the issue is always the same, that they're not pushing teens to work on films done by locals. They are, you know, films done by foreigners who come here because it's cheaper, taxes are cheaper and whatnot. They're doing their foreign films here, and that's the summer thing, and then the rest of the season, the rest of the year is basically nothing. So it's always the same big issue. And it's very frustrating to hear this kind of news. Very, very frustrating. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all we had to say about the whole Johann Grech controversy. It would be interesting to see how this story develops and to talk about it in the coming weeks. Next up, I would have said on more positive news, but me personally, I'll be honest, I wasn't too impressed. The Little Mermaid trailer came out during the Oscars, rudely interrupting the award ceremony. You guys had the opportunity to watch it. Francesca, what did you think about the Little Mermaid trailer?
The concept excited me, to be honest. When we mentioned it the last time I was on the podcast, you know, I was excited by the concepts, not necessarily because I've loved every Disney remake, but you know, there's always potential, right, for a good thing. The trailer didn't excite me, you know, and trailers generally don't have much trouble exciting me, you know, especially if there's something I'm already interested in off the bat. So the fact that this being a Disney film, there was a lot of room for kind of exciting stuff, and I don't know, Ursula didn't seem too scary. I don't know. I don't know. Ursula was always one of the scariest villains for me growing up, and she I saw her, I'm like, oh, okay. I feel like I might have already seen enough. I don't know. Might watch it, but I also equally might not at this point, especially after seeing the trailer.
Joe, what about you? Your thoughts?
I don't really have many. I think at this point it's an extremely inoffensive trailer. Like, it doesn't look particularly bad, but it doesn't look particularly good. It's a bit of nothing for me. You know, it doesn't show off anything. What I am concerned about is the trailer's very dark.
Warm.
Like, it's all just like drab.
Don't get me started.
Okay, it's based under the sea, but like, have you seen a fucking coral reef? It's like one of the most colorful things in the world. And because like the original Little Mermaid is such a vibrant, fun, like colorful film, it's disappointing that it's like, it's kind of one of like the things I really don't like about these like live action remakes from Disney. They're really drab. Like they're so like devoid of character in the way they're colored and shot and even just designed. That they all just like they're just dull. Like I'd rather go watch the animated one specifically just because it's colorful and it's fun.
I mean, look at how dark this whole... I mean, yes, it's just a storm, it's true, but... Listen, we just came from watching Avatar, right?
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
an issue. That's an issue, because Avatar does stuff with the sea, which no one else, I think, will ever reach, to be honest, in the next 10, 15 years. So there's that. But even this scene,
even the daytime
example,
stuff, just...
Even the daytime stuff. Look at how drab this looks. Look at the colors.
Yeah.
Very grey.
It's almost like they're trying to color these films as if they're like, I don't know, like they're a rival, like they're like a prestige, like science fiction film. It's like
yes, but then you've got dancing fish.
Yeah, like it should be fun.
So make this fun, man. Make this colorful.
Like
now, listen. There's positives. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry, and then
I hate to say it. Make it look more like Aquaman. And I really hate to say that.
Make it like Aquaman.
Make it look more like Aquaman. At least Aquaman, like the under the sea stuff, like Atlantis, it was bright and it was colorful and it had life.
But even the magic stuff here looks so drab, man. How do you make magic look drab?
Or
Jesus, the underwater seas. Like, look at this. This doesn't feel like it's underwater. None of this feels like it's underwater. It feels like an actress moving in a green skin, with a green screen behind her. As in, and to be fair, again, we've been spoiled by Avatar 2. Let's be honest, we've been completely spoiled because that felt so real. That felt so the colors, man, and that like everything. Like I remember every single coral, every single sea creature, all the small like balloons. Oh, that all looked so perfect. But I mean, seeing this, it looks like Ant-Man. It all looks fake, basically. And you know, I mean, and this is Disney we're talking about. We're not talking about. I mean, because if this was a small indie company, if this was, let's say, A24 trying to dab their feet into something like super fantastical, I would be okay. I mean, they've got that budget. But this is Disney we're talking about. It's not like Disney doesn't have a massive budget and they're not throwing hundreds of millions into this project, which I'm sure they are, because Little Mermaid is a $1 billion movie if I've ever seen one. But come on, man, look at this. Look at how drab this looks.
I can't understand
Francesca.
how, because like they know how much is riding on this. They know that everyone is going to be comparing it to the cartoon, right? I don't know. I mean, maybe what you guys were saying, like they're trying to tell us to take it seriously by making it serious.
But you can't make this serious.
Exactly, but then don't make Little Mermaid,
tough.
man. It's a Little Mermaid. This thing's fish, right?
really tough.
Like,
You've got the talking crab, man. You've got the talking crab.
I'd love to know what they're trying to do. I'd love to speak to them and get their take on this, because I don't see it at all.
I honestly don't see the thought process behind the whole thing. Like I feel like there are two movies here, right? They want to make a super like serious retelling of the Little Mermaid, but at the same time, obviously, there are certain elements of the Little Mermaid which you cannot remove, like the talking crab, which are fun elements for kids. So obviously they have to add them, but that's creating that's going to create, I think, a very jarring tone, in my opinion, which is expressed in the colors, because they're trying to make it, again, look at just going through this, look at how dull and dark it all looks. It's like we're looking at, not even Lord of the Rings was this dark. Like, look at this stuff.
It's like an episode of Game of Thrones.
It's like an episode of Game of Thrones, exactly. I'm going to really quick comment. Guys, did you see the IMDb review of episode 2 of The Mandalorian, season 3?
I still haven't watched that, no.
Oh, because it's a little dark. Now, I didn't have any problems because I have an OLED, and when it comes to OLED and dark scenes, it's perfect because you put it on vivid and you see everything very clearly. But apparently IMDb do not have an OLED television for their reviewers, and they couldn't see anything. So
that's good.
The review was basically like 5 out of 10, and the reason for the 5 out of 10 for The Mandalorian was not because it was bad, but because it was so dark that they didn't see anything. From that, quite entertaining. But anyways, so yeah, overall, those are my thoughts. I think even the magical elements look really drab and really. At the same time, I'm excited to see Javier Bardem. So where was he? I'm very excited to see Javier Bardem. I love Javier Bardem. I think I can listen to him speak in Spanish all day with his beautiful accent. What's her name? The actress Halle Bailey. I think her name is Halle Bailey. She sounds incredible. Let's be honest. Her voice is great. So I'm sure the singing parts are going to be absolutely stunning. But that's pretty much it from my part with regard to positives.
Yeah,
which is a pity because I love The Little Mermaid, and The Little Mermaid was a very, very important part of my childhood. But anyways, I think it's time to move on. And this was a movie I watched this weekend, and I'm glad to see that it's doing really well. And to be honest, I'm glad to see that cinema is doing really well, because last week we talked about how well Creed is doing, and this week I'm talking about how well Scream 6 is doing, with a global box office of, I believe, 67 million, something around 67 million, which is really, really good for a Scream movie. So it feels like as long as you make a good movie, which has good word of mouth, your movie will make decent money. Now, Joe, you went to watch 65. And that movie, I believe, made around like 4.5 million.
Yep.
Global box office.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a reason why, right?
Yeah. But I mean, you say that, but like one thing I've realized, when we went to watch 65 on Friday, we hadn't booked tickets anywhere. We were just walking around the city center, and I was going to go to View, which is one of the cinemas, and I said, I can't imagine there'd be that many people clamoring to go and watch 65, so I didn't bother booking in advance. But we ended up having to go to Cineworld instead, which is a much bigger theater, because when we went to go and get the tickets like 40 minutes before the film, there was nothing left for any of the showings, and despite it not making that much money, a good thing that I take from that is cinema's back. People like going to the cinema again. Even for a film like 65, people now, I think one of the results of lockdown was people sat down and watched Tiger King for so long they missed going out and actually like having dinner and getting a drink and going to the cinema and then talking about that film after. I think people miss the social aspect of it now, and they've realized it's a good night out. Because even when we went to Cineworld, it wasn't a packed theater, but in a theater of maybe what I would say 80 seats, there were maybe 30 free. So
not bad.
Yeah,
not bad at all. Francesca, how long has it been since you've been to the cinema?
I was actually wondering that. I think the last film I watched at the cinema was After Sun. I went to sorry about that, Andrea. Shit, I forgot about that. It was the time, Joe, I don't know, I'm sure Andrea has spoken about it, but Andrea was not
I know the one, yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know it well.
I think that was the last time I went, actually, and it's very unlike me, to be honest. Usually at this time of year, I'm in and out of the cinema, but things have been particularly busy this year, so I actually haven't, and I haven't been to the larger cinemas here in a while, I would say. I was supposed to actually go last weekend, but I wasn't feeling too well. I was supposed to go watch Cocaine Bear, and I'm very disappointed.
I still haven't watched Cocaine Bear. Damn, no. Joe watched it.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it.
Oh, you were meant to go watch it, I think, right?
Yeah, no, I'm. That's that'll be like a Megan situation where I have a day off from work and I go watch a film by myself at like 1 p.m. I love those days, to be fair.
I feel like Cocaine there is something you might want to watch with people, though, right?
Probably, but I mean, like, if I suggest to my girlfriend, listen, date night, let's go watch this movie, she's like, what's it called? Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear.
It's not going to go down very well.
Yeah, probably not.
You know what I'm enjoying, Francesca? Sometimes I've been to Embassy. They have a 10:15 screening at Embassy. They have a 10:15 in the morning.
Yeah, that's really early. Jesus Christ.
I go watch a movie at 10:15, either on Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying it. It's like a private screening because it's basically just me and the cinema.
Pretty much. What did you?
That's what I did for
Scream.
Scream.
What kind of film would you watch at 10:15?
No, like I've watched a lot of movies at 10:15. Generally, it's either like I go to Valletta. It's like in that case, my girlfriend had brunch with her friends, so I had nothing to do in the morning. So I also went to Valletta and went to watch Scream 6. Like we watched like the latest Matrix at 10:15. We've watched a lot of movies at 10:15 in the morning. And I'm really enjoying it because, you know, Saturday morning generally is quite lazy for me. It's like a recovery day for me. Like a whole week has passed and times. But instead, I just recover in the cinema. I actually quite enjoy it. Saturday or Sunday, depending on when I have to do the chores. I'm really enjoying them.
It intrigues me.
And that was Scream 6. Yeah, try it. It's an experience. Waking up at like
I'll take my
8:30, prepping.
You guys should go together and you can call it the Breakfast Club.
I can imagine.
There's a lot of movies because March is busy, so I'm going to use that as a segue because March is a super busy month, and one of the movies I might go to watch at 10:15 is Dungeons and Dragons.
I know, now I have to go.
And Joe, surprise, surprise, because we've been shitting on this movie for quite a while now, and I know. Fair enough, the trailers have looked horrible, and I mean, it is Dungeons and Dragons after all. But the first reactions have been really positive, which is a massive surprise.
Yeah.
I read some of the reactions from like serious websites, Variety, Collider.
IndieWire gave it a glowing review, and I was just like,
IndieWire. And I'm like, no way, this must be some elaborate troll. Yeah, just like the Megan situation. But in fact, I mean, Megan wasn't horrible, which was again a big surprise. Remember, Francesca, was okay. We discussed it.
I haven't actually gotten. I remember you guys discussing it. I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. And by Megan, I'm sure you mean Intriguing.
Intriguing, right? Yes. Which really wasn't half bad, which was a surprise. So,
but this is apparently really good.
They're saying this is good.
Bad.
Yeah. Which I feel
now, like as a person who has played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons in his life, I feel like now I have to watch it. Before I was like, oh no, this movie's gonna suck. Like it's never gonna. Obviously, it's still not going to be as good as playing actual Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm like, yeah, like being really snobbish about it. But it's like at South by Southwest as well. Like it's ballsy to release that film there.
True.
Like, true. Just like for comparison's sake, Everything Ever All at Once premiered at South by Southwest, and now it's just won Best Picture.
True.
Like, I'm
all these reactions.
Not making the claim that this is going to win Best Picture, by the way, but like, just...
No. Even the fact that it's not horrible, I think, would be an achievement.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that fascinates me about this, a lot of people are saying that it feels like you're playing the game, and I'm trying to think, how could they possibly do that, like in a movie, make you feel like you're playing the game?
Yeah.
And quite a few mentioned that. I read that reaction quite a few times. So I'm really curious. Now I really want to go watch it. This comes out like end of March, right? I believe.
Yeah. I think
here
end
of March.
I think here it's like next week. I think it's March 17th. I think. I don't know.
In Malta, let me check really quickly, but I believe in Malta, coming soon. So Shazam comes out this coming weekend. 65 comes out on the 22nd of March. Oh, Jesus. And John Wick comes out on the 24th, and Dungeons and Dragons comes out on the 31st. So yeah, a ton of movies still to come out in Malta and to watch. But this is weird. I really don't get how this movie could not be horrible. Like I just don't get it. Like something must be up here.
To potentially answer your question, I'm seeing one of the reviews. That's what you have on your screen right now. It's the one at the bottom. And you said, I wonder how they can make it seem like you're playing the game. And Brian Talerico, probably not pronouncing that well.
Oh, that's Roger Ebert.
He says, do you know how the game often gets made up as it goes along? This movie has a lot of that energy. So maybe that's how it's like playing the game.
I actually love that review. The best stuff reminded me of Raimi. The worst stuff reminded me of Ball.
Ooh, okay. Oh, damn. That's Raimi, Ball. Oh
Raimi
my God.
You were Ball.
It's like saying potentially my absolute favorite director, boom, and Ball, boom. Like that's saying something. Yeah. Raimi and Ball. But that's interesting. This is an interesting review. So I'm really curious to watch this now. This is going to be a 10-15 movie if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Joe, you know how last week we talked about like how you don't want to see another Creed coming out? I've got some bad news for you, my friend. Because seeing how successful Creed 3 has been at the box office, and I believe it's hit the 100 million. Yeah, there we go. We're hitting over 100 million, so it's been a big success. But there's been a lot of discussion about a series, an anime series, which could actually be interesting. An anime series. There's been discussion about the Victor Drago making a spin-off and a series about Ivan Drago and his son Victor Drago. So there's talks about Amazon creating the Creed verse. By the way, let me start with Francesca because we have never talked about this, I think. Francesca, how are you with the Rocky lore?
Very unknowledgeable. Lack of knowledge. I have a lot of lack of knowledge. Nothing, pretty much.
Have you watched the originals, like the Rocky?
I don't even think I've watched the originals. I might have watched one of them. I have this bad habit of, habit, air quotes, what you like, of watching many films when I'm sick, and I end up watching like 4 films in a row. So my memory of them is very, very weak, and Rocky would have been one of these. So I know it's a classic, but it's also felt a bit macho. That's the only thing I remember thinking.
Look at that photo.
Yeah. Which is also something I really felt about Top Gun, by the way. Sorry, I know we haven't gotten to the Oscars yet, but jeez. I thought we were past that by now. Okay, but anyway.
You'll forgive Top Gun, to be fair. You'll forgive Top Gun.
I really didn't, but...
No, I forgave it.
I have a lot of feelings about Top Gun. None of them are positive.
Okay.
I feel like it might be Tom Cruise making up for something related to his masculinity. I don't know. Or his aging. I don't know.
That's certainly a take.
That's certainly a take, true.
I can still ride motorbikes and drive really fast planes.
My girlfriend would fight you for that.
Saying that, I don't totally disagree with you, Francesca. So.
I don't know.
Top Gun parts?
Joe. Yeah, on the Top Gun part.
I'm surprised. To be honest, I thought it would be a really unpopular take on things. To be honest, it's really not my type of film in the first place, so I'm already off on the wrong foot. But
I honestly,
love Top Gun. It was in the best picture list.
I adored Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I put it in my top 10. I put like 4 or 5 in my top 10. Like I had that much fun in the cinema.
I know, but look who looks bad now with you putting Top Gun in your top 10 and not putting Everything Ever All at Once in your top 10.
I can only talk about what I enjoyed, or if I didn't enjoy a movie.
It's only the first movie ever to win the big 5 of all the awards, you know?
I didn't enjoy it. I agree with Clive on this. No, actually, I don't agree with Clive, because Clive actually enjoyed it. He just didn't think it was like the super movie everyone's making it out to be.
I actually agree with Clive.
I appreciated it, but didn't enjoy it.
Didn't enjoy it.
I can appreciate the charm and the craft on screen, but I just didn't get like anything from it. Emotion-wise,
I haven't formally met Clive ever. We've only interacted through Prickly Pears, but he accused me of not liking fun when I shat on the 65 trailer. But we'll get there.
We'll get there. All right, really quickly, Joe, your thoughts on Creedverse coming to Amazon?
I hate it.
Even the anime part?
Yeah, I hate it.
Okay.
Do an anime about a boxer. Doesn't have to be Creed.
But this you know how franchise is.
Yes, I know, but this just risks the term I really like using now. It risks the Marvelization of Creed, which I don't want. I don't want Rocky to become fucking Spider-Man.
I mean, Stallone has no say in this, so
yeah, which is sad.
I wonder what he thinks. What do you think? What he think about this?
I don't think he feels very strongly, because I mean, as soon as he didn't get the rights back, he outright refused to be in Creed 3. So,
True. I don't know. I want more Creed, but at the same time, I don't want them to like exactly see the whole Marvel thing happening all over again with Creed, which is like something like the Rocky movies I recently rewatched, and I just adore them. They're just so good. There's so much heart in them. And the Creed movies, like we talked about last week, just really updated the whole thing for the 21st century brilliantly. So I just don't want them to ruin it. But at the same time, if Michael B. Jordan is responsible for the whole thing, I have hopes, because his direction in Creed 3 was very good. So there's that as well to it. It'll be interesting to see where they take this. To be fair, there's been no comments about it so far, so I don't know how official this is, but this is Collider, so probably there is some truth to it.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, so...
probably. Now, Joe, this is something I've had a lot to say, like really, really quick comment about this. But I by the way, Francesca, have you been watching The Last of Us?
I have not, no. I want to, because I always end up in the situation where I'm the only one not watching Game of Thrones and the only one not watching the thing that everyone is talking about. But no, I haven't gotten around to it yet.
So I would recommend it. The praise for it has been pretty much everyone has been praising it, minus some issues here and there. But there's been one issue which I've had, and quite a few people I've seen. Not everyone obviously has had this kind of issue. Is that the lack of infected, which I think is a big problem with a series set in a zombie apocalypse. And the creator, Craig Mason, basically stated, long story short, that yes, in season 2 there will be more diversity with regard to the infected, and yes, there will be more. I would assume that it's more budget. More budget means they can have more infected in the series. So that's something I'm looking forward to, because I think the one big element that was missing in this series was the tension developed, and through that tension, the relationship between Ellie and Joel developing even more by being in these kind of difficult, scary situations. The lack of infected, basically. The lack of infected and lack of set pieces with infected between Joel and Ellie. But that's something we'll get into later on. Finally, one last thing. By the way, Joe, your thoughts on that?
On the Last of Us stuff?
Yeah, on the more infected in season 2.
Again, I hope that doesn't take away from any of the character moments, because as you know, those are my favorite parts about the series. I'm very much on the side of The Last of Us is about the people and it's not about the infected. The infected are just, they're like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. They're there and you think they matter, but really they don't, because the focus is actually the people. That's for me the best thing the series has done. Obviously, in a game, you need the infected, because if the gameplay loop was just like interacting with people, you'd probably be pretty fucking bored if you're playing a video game set in a post-apocalyptic world based on a zombie-type infection. So from the game perspective, I get it, but I really enjoy it. Obviously they're gonna go a lot bigger with season 2, because they're gonna have more money, and I think season 1 kind of, you had to test the waters a bit, and you needed to get sort of more, for lack of a better term, more vanilla viewers more invested in the characters, which you do that by giving the characters as much screen time as possible. So it's good. It's good that they're willing as well to acknowledge. I mean, I personally don't, like, if I count the episodes I've watched now, I haven't watched episode 9, but by my count, Infected have featured moderately to fairly heavily in 4 out of the 8 episodes that I've watched.
1, 2,
4,
5.
No, was 5?
5, 1, 2, 5. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 out of the 8. But then, I mean, even the games, you weren't always just fighting infected. You were fighting other survivors. True. And there has been stuff like that. For me, it's been very balanced the way they've done the show. I didn't want all-out balls to the wall action, and I also think with season 2 they're going to go more episodes.
Oh, I hope they do. I hope they do. Like that 9 episodes was, they needed one more episode there. I think if they were going to do the whole flashback thing, and the whole like episode 3, which was again beautiful, but pacing problems. So episode 3, then the episode 7, which was the DLC, again pacing problems. Like if you're going to do those 2 episodes, go ahead, do them. They were beautiful. Both were amazing to watch. But you need at least 10 episodes.
Yeah.
I think the episode was 43 minutes long.
Yeah, I think they'll go for 12.
I hope they do.
There's also rumors that they're going to add a season 3 to it as well.
Ooh. I can see a very obvious place where they would end season 2 and then start season 3.
Yes.
It's quite obvious.
I would really,
which would be
interesting. I would really like if they did that, to be honest.
I think it would be very ballsy if they did that.
It would be as ballsy as what they did in part 2 of the game, in my opinion, because that was a huge risk and swing that they took. And for some people, it didn't work. For some, it really did. But we'll see.
You might disagree with it, which I kind of a little bit disagree. But damn, that's ballsy. Very brave. But yeah, so I'm excited for this. As long as they, like you said, don't kind of like sacrifice all the character moments. I think these tense moments can actually help develop the character moments as well. But I think we'll have time to talk about this, Joe, when we have our big Last of Us episode on the podcast together, where we'll talk about the potential season 2 and season 3 in this case, as you've read. One last thing, really quickly, guys. I don't know if you've read about this. I am a big fan of the Daredevil Netflix series, and the appearance of Punisher was a fantastic moment. Obviously, we had our friend Eric Linden on the show, who was an integral part of that whole appearance of the Punisher on the Devil, so that was great to see. But yes, Jon Bernthal will be returning, and he will be returning as PG-13 Punisher in Daredevil Born Again. PG-13. Fuck my life.
I was about to ask.
PG-13 and Punisher, the man who, after his entire family are killed by the mob, devotes his life to murdering criminals.
And not just murdering, like slaughtering them.
Yeah.
And they're going to try and shoehorn him in with PG-13 series. I don't see this working out. And I don't know why.
I was about to ask, any particular reason why?
Disney.
Like, if it's PG-13, why are you adding the Punisher into the whole thing? I mean, he's popular. Clearly, Jon Bernthal is an extremely popular actor. The character is very, very popular as well amongst fans. So that's obviously the reason why, money. But how you managed to work the Punisher in a PG-13 series, I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
It's not just a question of blood, but it's the whole character.
Yeah, he's a violent man.
I don't know how this is going to work. I really don't know. But the more news I get about Daredevil Born Again, the worse and worse it sounds.
It just confirms to me what I said a couple episodes ago, where I said Blade is definitely going to be PG-13 as well.
Oh, everything's PG-13. And everything that's not Deadpool is PG-13.
Yeah.
You can, like, that's 100%. No way are we getting anything which isn't PG-13. And that's the one thing which I applaud DC for. Like them actually confirming that there's going to be quite a few series which are not PG-13. Series which are just, balls to the wall, bloody, swear words, and so on. It's good to have diversity in this kind of stuff. Okay, guys, I think it's time to get into the one, the only, the Oscars. Now, I'm going to start off from the bottom, not from the top.
Okay.
So, but we can obviously sprint through some of these. Joe, Babylon did not win.
I know.
Score.
Move on. I know.
Now, Francesca, have you watched All Quiet on the Western Front by any chance?
Yes, I have.
What did you think about it, first of all?
As a film or specifically the score?
As a film, and then we'll get into the score, yeah.
It is brutal, very tough to watch, but in a good way, I felt. I didn't necessarily feel that it was doing something very new in the way that the reviews were saying it was. It gave me similar feelings to Saving Private Ryan, that first scene of D-Day, I believe it was. Again, I love the way it's specifically the dirt in the film. I think I love the fact that his face got dirty and it remained dirty. Which is maybe it's not fair to compare it to Saving Private Ryan in that sense, but I find it difficult to prize war films, as something that should win Best Picture, because they very rarely feel fresh. I like the fact that it was, in the original language, I guess, so that was maybe a little bit different to what we usually have. Obviously, there's no glorification like that we used to see in the kind of 90s films, war films. I enjoyed it is not the sentiment. It was
hard to enjoy
it was
this
a good
movie.
It's definitely not enjoyment. It was a good
You
film.
appreciate the craft.
Yes, for sure. And the acting I found incredible, to be honest. It frustrated me a bit that the acting was not mentioned at all. Or rather, I don't know if it was in my sphere of attention. It wasn't mentioned. So that frustrated me a bit because I found the main actor, and I'm a bit disappointed with myself because I don't remember his name. I thought he was outstanding, honestly.
Yeah, and there was the supporting actor as well who got nominated for the BAFTAs. I forgot his name. Again, he was the more cheerful character in All Quiet on the Western Front, the older guy.
Yes.
He got nominated for Best Supporting Actor, I believe, for the BAFTAs.
Very charismatic character.
He was very good as well. A very charismatic performance. With regard to the score, specifically?
I have to admit, I hate to compare, but I end up doing it automatically. It didn't stand out the way the score of 1917 stood out for me. That score, I listen to it to this day, and it just blows my mind. All Quiet on the Western Front, it didn't have that impact. I appreciated it while it was happening, but it's not necessarily something I'd go back and listen to over and over again, which is saying something for me because I love listening to soundtracks and scores. I thought it worked for the film. Now I might obviously go back and listen to it and change my mind eventually, but at this point,
I listened to it today
Mm-hmm.
at work during a free lesson. I was doing some work, and I just put it on and I listened to it. And again, it's very atmospheric and sets the tone and the mood of the movie perfectly. The blaring horns and so on, very effective. But I mean, it's nothing. It's so hard to compare it with Babylon's soundtrack. Because the soundtrack in Babylon is like a character in the movie. It's so good. It's like so good. Like it's very hard. To be honest with you, I really did enjoy the Black Panther Wakanda Forever soundtrack as well by Ludwig Göransson. I thought it was, again, an excellent soundtrack. I believe Ludwig Göransson had won the best original score for the original Black Panther. I might be wrong. I don't know if he won or not, if Black Panther won for best soundtrack or not. But again, the original Black Panther had an excellent soundtrack, and this one also had a very, very good soundtrack. If I had to choose three movies which would deserve to win, three movies which would deserve to win this, I would say first Babylon, second Black Panther, and third the Batman. Those three movies, I think, really
For sure,
the fact
Batman.
that the Batman soundtrack is not here is I don't know. But anyways, that's best original score. Franco isn't here to talk about Nasanatu. Apparently there was a very good rendition of the song during the show. You know, have you guys watched it?
Yeah.
No.
I don't have an opinion on this.
Nah,
Like,
same.
I thought the Lady Gaga song was horrible, though. I really did
don't
not
even
like that
remember it.
at all. Play it at the end.
I was just
Have you guys
relieved
watched
that it
this?
was over.
The animated short? Oh, God.
Not yet, actually, but I've read the book or seen the book maybe because it's mostly
Okay.
illustrated and it's gorgeous. I love it. So I'm looking forward to watching this.
I have to watch all of these.
Yeah, I haven't
The
seen
Boy,
any of
the
them as
Moon,
well.
Fox, and the Horse. Live action short. I heard a lot of good stuff about this
Sure.
one, An Irish Goodbye. I read about it like a few days ago. I heard a lot of very good stuff about it. Apparently, it's a masterclass.
Mm-hmm.
I
Looking
don't know
forward
if
to
you've watched
that.
it, guys.
No,
No.
not yet.
I need to watch it. I need to find some time to watch it. I would assume you guys haven't watched the best documentary short subject as
No.
well.
No,
Correct assumption.
none of the shorts.
Beautiful though. So the Little Mermaid can learn something from this image.
Yep.
The colors. Now this I have watched, Navalny, and I'll be honest, I did quite enjoy it, but I did much prefer Fire of Love to Navalny. So whilst Navalny was super like intriguing to watch, it's like watching a thriller, real life thriller. Fire of Love was just so beautiful. The visuals in Fire of Love are just out of this world. I would highly recommend watching Fire of Love from this list. It's the visuals of the volcano and the lava are just out of this world. The red is so beautifully portrayed. Oh, the colors in that. I know I love colors in movies. I sound like a little kid, but that's why something like The Little Mermaid again gets me so frustrated. Because then watching something like Fire of Love, obviously shot on film, and the effects are clear to see. Like the colors are amazing. Don't get me wrong, Navalny was a fascinating documentary to watch. Ajafiri, obviously for the obvious reasons he was poisoned, allegedly on orders of Vladimir Putin as well, and you're following the whole thing. So it's like watching a real life thriller. Okay, Francesca.
Well, I
So
mean,
Top Gun
to be
Maverick
honest,
won Best Sound.
I can't dispute this. To be honest, I mean, the Batman I felt should have come in the score bit. I mean, not because it didn't deserve to be here as well, but I'm not, gonna dispute the sound. I guess, sure, why not? I can't say I have very strong feelings on sound.
Joe.
Give me a second, because someone is going through the recycling very loudly.
All right. So
Looking
I
for
think
an empty spray bottle.
Very ironic that
Speaking
this is
of
happening
sound.
while discussing best sound.
Yes,
sound, true.
these are not the best sounds.
Not the best sound.
1 second.
So I don't know about you guys, but the cinema in which I watched this, Top Gun Maverick, like my ears were just ringing with the sounds, with all the sound going on. It was beautiful. I really appreciated the sound in the Batman as well. Like the whole chase sequence of the penguin, the sound that there was orgasmic, I'll be honest. And I really appreciated the sound in All Quiet on the Western Front as well. Like just the tank scene in itself, the whole horror element of that, the sound there was beautiful, like the whole. So I would find it hard to decide, but I think Top Gun Maverick overall deserves to win best sound in this case. Costume design, I would. I mean, in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever had absolutely stunning costumes, but I think Everything Everywhere All at Once and Babylon should have had a say in this as well, and I would imagine they were also the favorites with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever to win. But again, I see no reason why Black Panther: Wakanda Forever shouldn't have won this. I don't think you've watched this, right, Francesca?
No, not yet. Correct assumption. I have actually seen the first one, but this one not yet. Maybe another 10, 15, or although I don't imagine it's still at the cinema, right? Or has it?
No,
No.
It's really still streaming now. It's on Disney Plus. So
Okay.
The Whale takes best makeup and hairstyling, which
Makes sense.
for obvious reasons, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Brendan Fraser had to do what, 4.5 hours of like makeup every day, and it looks like I've seen bad fat suits before, but
yeah,
the fact like there's a scene where like he's showering, it looks real. Like it's ridiculous.
It looks real. It does. They do an excellent job with that. All Quiet on the Western Front takes best production design, which is interesting. Again, there's Babylon here, which should have had a say. I think even the Fabelmans should have had a say in this, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. The production design of the Fabelmans is brilliant. I mean, it's a Spielberg movie, so any Spielberg movie could win best production design, to be honest with you.
True.
Joe, your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm just still upset that My Dear Babylon went 0 from 3 on its nominations.
Yep.
I really thought it would get at least 1.
I did. I thought it would take the music. I was convinced it would take the score.
It should have taken the score.
I'm convinced it should have taken the score still. Editing. Francesca. Everything Everywhere All at Once takes editing.
I thought this one was a no-brainer, to be honest. I didn't expect anything else to take it. Elvis is Baz Luhrmann, and Baz Luhrmann does editing like no one else, but if you're running against Everything Everywhere All at Once, I don't think you have a chance.
Yeah. I think this was a no-brainer, like you said. Joe?
Yeah,
completely agree.
I think this is like no question. I mean, this... Much to say about this, right?
We don't even need to speak about this one.
This was the Pinocchio, the Guillermo del Toro's, but I'm so upset. In any other year, Puss in Boots would have won this. Puss in Boots was so good. I cannot express how good Puss in Boots was. I loved it so much, man. If I watched it before my top 10 list, it would have made that list 100%. Francesca, you have question marks on your face.
I do, but they're not maybe fully justified question marks, because I didn't watch Pinocchio in its entirety, because I watched the first bit and it bothered me. I watched the first half hour and I don't know, maybe I wasn't in the mood for it, but it felt really formulaic somehow. Maybe I don't know, I was in a bad mood that day, because then I read that it was anything but formulaic, so I don't know. I was just really pissed off that Marcel the Shell didn't take this. I haven't watched Puss in Boots, to be fair, or the other two.
Watch it, so good. All of them are very good, mind you.
No, I love animation.
is very good, Turning Red is beautiful.
But Marcel the Shell is like the most wholesome thing I've ever seen in my life. I loved it, and it's original, you know? I mean, okay, it's Pinocchio and it's another remake. Can we swear? But
we can.
Voice and the Shell, it's just so new and fresh and clever, you know, and it's exactly my kind of thing, basically. So I'm maybe very biased, but so I was very disappointed here. Maybe I shouldn't have been because I don't think it was mentioned at all for being a favorite.
No, the winner was obvious. This has always been the Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio award, basically, this year. Joe?
I mean, you said it yourself. It's the obvious one. I haven't watched any of the others, unfortunately, so...
I highly recommend all of them, basically.
Yeah.
I think the Sea Beast was very, very underrated. Beautiful. Yeah, Joe?
I have a confession about Marcel the Shell. I've had it on a USB stick for probably a year.
Same here.
And every time I turn on my TV and I want to watch something off the USB stick, I look at Marcel the Shell and I go like, maybe I should finally watch this. And I never have. I don't know why.
Please do. Please
Same
go
here.
and watch
Same
it.
exact.
And like box of tissues because I cried like 4 times in that film. I cried more than I cried.
And I love the
during
YouTube.
It's so clever, man. It's so... the script is so well written, you know. Anyway, I'm going to stop, but please go watch it, Joe.
But the others are also very good as well. Turning Red, beautiful.
Fair.
Puss in Boots. I can't stop raving about Puss in Boots. It's like so good, man. The antagonist in Puss in Boots, best antagonist of the year. Not even close. Not one antagonist comes close to the antagonist in Puss in Boots. Best original screenplay. This was so obvious. This was always. I thought Banshees had a chance.
Exactly.
Here.
I thought Banshees was favorite for this.
Okay, surprise. I thought obviously Everything Everywhere would take picture, but Banshees then would take the best original screenplay.
Yeah.
I think.
Can you walk me through why this was obvious?
No, not at all. It wasn't obvious. No, I was wrong.
But specifically the screenplay of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, I mean, obviously it's good. Maybe it deserves to be in the nominee list, but I don't know. I mean, this is something after that I haven't mentioned at all from the list. I loved Triangle of Sadness, and I went to read the screenplay because I loved it so much. And I don't know. For me, like that was my favorite film of the Best Picture nominees.
Ustra?
Yes.
Triangle of Sadness?
Yes, for sure.
I liked it. I didn't love it.
I get that it's maybe not the popular choice, but for me, seeing this list, I wouldn't say no-brainer because of the Banshees. The Banshees was incredible, including the screenplay, I would say. But for me, it's those two, and maybe Tar, particularly that scene when she's giving the lecture. I think this, the writing of that scene was just out of this world.
Joe, before I go to you and your thoughts on this, can I just say, I think this might be a bit controversial, but I think if I had to pick one movie which should be in this list, I would pick Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think the screenplay in Tar is excellent. We've confirmed that I thought that, Lydia Tar was a real conductor, sorry. I thought the screenplay in Fabelmans was brilliant. I thought screenplay of Banshees, although I did not love Banshees, I thought was very good. And Triangle of Sadness, I didn't love, but I think the screenplay for Triangle of Sadness was also very, very good. So if there is one movie I think shouldn't be here, I think it's Everything Everywhere All at Once. Joe, your thoughts?
I think that's a wild opinion to have.
It is.
And I also, in my opinion, I don't think it's also the strongest screenplay. I was on team Banshees because as a specific screenplay, Banshees is a lot tighter, a lot more elegant in its writing. I think it's the most elegant of them all. It would have been my winner. But I think it's also wild to say that Everything Everywhere All at Once shouldn't be here because with the themes it takes on and all the ideas it incorporates into one thing, that in and of itself is quite the achievement.
Fair enough.
And I mean,
the
it
one
has,
that's... Go ahead, John.
it has that line which not only I love so much, but it seems like so many people on the internet love so much because it just resonates with people, which is the one towards the end of, like, despite how much you've broken my heart in another life, I'd love nothing more than to just do laundry and taxes with you. You know, like that's a
true.
like, and that's basically the film's mission statement at the end of the day. It's really, really well done.
True. Okay, so that's best original screenplay. Now this one, Francesca, have you watched Women Talking? So this is the one movie, I think, from all of that I haven't. Your thoughts? What do you think about Women Talking?
I watched it just a couple of nights ago, actually. I was surprised it was nominated for Best Picture, not because it didn't necessarily deserve it, but it's so different to most of them. I was surprised that it even went up there, to be honest, that it even got included in the Oscars at all. I guess maybe it was the topic. It's quite shocking. I don't know how familiar you are with it. The story is essentially based on a true fact, and then it's taken into the imagination, basically. There was this colony in the early 2000s, and the women started waking up kind of very drowsy and like they'd been hit by a truck kind of thing, and very bruised, and they'd been raped, essentially. And everyone started pinning it on ghosts and devils and whatever. But then it's turned out that one of the women actually caught one of the men, and it turned out that the men of the colony were the ones raping them. So yeah, it was, it was again very tough to watch. I thought the acting was very good, not the level of Tar, I would say, which in my opinion is nothing, because nothing is the level of Tar in acting. But
no way. Yeah, agreed.
I thought it was the screenplay. Yes, I do remember thinking there were particular scenes, maybe not necessarily throughout, but there were particular scenes where I said this scene is so well written. Most of it's reminded me a little bit of like a female 12 Angry Men, because there's a bunch of angry women basically, and they're discussing what to do, right? Because they have a choice between leaving the colony or forgiving the men for what they've done. And it was very much that kind of thing where it's most of the film is in this one room. So obviously the screenplay has to be very good, otherwise it's a failure of a film. And I felt like it worked, and that says a lot, for a film in one room. So yeah, I think it's deserving, to be honest. I also watched Living, and maybe because I'm a big fan of Ishiguro, I thought it might have been a bit better. So, I was maybe a bit disappointed with that, so I wouldn't have necessarily wanted that to win. I know, I'm sorry, I know you're a fan, but I don't know how Top Gun is there. Why is Top Gun there?
No, here it shouldn't be here. It shouldn't be.
Why?
Even I can admit it shouldn't be in Best Adapted Screenplay. Let's be honest.
This is, I don't know if maybe you guys have some insight on this. Like, why is it that 10 films are selected and they're just spread all over the categories? Like, there are other films that had better adapted screenplay that are just not mentioned. Yeah. Why are we looking at Top Gun? What?
Yep. Yeah.
I just don't get it.
I don't know. This is a very weird list. I think Women Talking I haven't watched, so I can't comment about, but and I'm glad to see All Quiet on the Western Front.
Sure.
But even with All Quiet on the Western Front, the screenplay is not its strong point.
No. Agreed.
Let's be honest.
Also, a very unpopular opinion. I don't think the Glass Onion should be there either.
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, okay. So at least it's popular with you, but sure, another
like
disagree.
The screenplay in Poker Face, which is a series produced by Ryan Johnson, is 100 times better than the screenplay in Glass Onion.
Did he write it though?
So good question. I don't know. I think he had a hand in writing it, not the whole thing though. I think he had a hand in writing it though. With regard to best cinematography, I think, I think we can all agree that this is a well-deserved win for All Quiet on the Western Front. I think that was the big strength of this movie. Joe?
No, it should be the Batman, and I feel validated in my opinion because Roger Deakins agrees with me, and he's the greatest of all time.
And Roger Deakins agrees. Yeah. But I agree, same thing. I agree that the Batman should at least compete with All Quiet on the Western Front. The fact that it's not even on this list, and Elvis is on this list. Oh God.
Elvis.
And one of Roger Deakins' worst movies, in Empire of Light, is there.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get it. I don't get. Oh.
I mean, the All Quiet on the Western Front's a good winner.
It's a good winner. From this list, I think it's well deserved. To be fair, the cinematography in Tar was also very good. There's some beautiful shots in Tar. Some beautiful shots. Wouldn't have been upset with that either. Obviously, All Quiet on the Western Front takes Best International Feature Film. Although I've seen a lot of people upset that Argentina 1985 hasn't won. Have you guys watched that? I haven't.
I've only watched All Quiet on the Western Front from those. Although I very much intend on watching all of them because those tend to be the best ones.
Same here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. I saw a lot of angry Argentinians on Twitter typing on Twitter on the Oscars page about Argentina 1985 not taking it. It's quite entertaining. Okay, big surprise. So this
controversy,
something I did not expect. I was certain if it wasn't Angela Bassett, it would be Kerry Condon taking this. But Jamie Lee Curtis, damn. This was a big surprise. Joe?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, it just goes to show, like, if you play the game, you'll get rewarded because if, like, Jamie Lee Curtis has been doing one thing since, like, the awards circuit started, she's been playing the game. And she's been playing it incredibly well. So I commend her for that. I mean, she's a legend in Hollywood by now. She's someone I hold very dear to my heart because of her like performance in horror films. She's also a good dramatic actress. But like that being said, okay, her performance is very physical in Everything Ever All at Once. But I think if you were going to give a Best Supporting Actress to anyone from Everything Ever All at Once, it's definitely Stephanie Hsu. Because she's doing a lot more in her role. Her character's a lot meatier, you know. But I'm with you. I had the feeling they were gonna go down. We need to give a Marvel film an award, so we'll give it to Angela Bassett.
And she would have deserved it. To be fair, I watched Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. It has its faults, but Angela Bassett is fucking powerhouse in that. She's a powerhouse.
I thought Kerry Condon was fantastic in Banshees.
I would have been very happy with a Kerry Condon win as well. And
for sure.
From Banshees. I think she deserved it. The dream is dead. Oh.
Yeah, there goes that dream.
The dream is dead. Oh my God, the Banshees get 0 Oscars, man.
Nothing. It got absolutely shafted.
What did Banshees get? Oh.
I had a feeling that it was going to be, what's the word? Spurned? There was too much. There was too much Everything Ever All at Once promo. There was just... I don't feel like anyone else had a chance.
True. I had
played
a feeling
the
same
game,
thing.
And this is what frustrates me. It's just playing the game, you know. Same in this one, honestly.
But I think this is deserved, though. Even I can admit that Ki-Hugh Kwan deserved this. Francesca?
I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't do a great job. He did a great job, you know. I mean, absolutely lovable character. But I felt like in the Banshees, I mean, his acting didn't floor me, you know. And I'm gonna say the same thing in the Best Actress segment. Just preparing you. Yeah, I think Barry Keoghan.
I would have given it to Barry in this as well, but I understand why so many people are just in love with the performance. Ki-Hugh Kwan gave a super heartfelt performance in everything. I understand the thought process behind giving him the win, and I mean he was the clear and obvious favorite in this. Joe, your thoughts?
I'm going to be controversial. I would have given it to Brendan Gleeson.
Ostra?
Barry Keoghan was great, but again, like the person who I like. This is a weird thing about supporting actor, right? The person who I really saw as like the star of Banshees is definitely Colin Farrell. And then Goats, because of the story and the screen time, definitely the supporting actor is Brendan Gleeson. Like just like by a means of deduction, which is not to say that you can't nominate. I mean, they have nominated multiple people from the same film here. But I thought that, again, I like sweeping declaration. I love Barry Keoghan in The Banshees of Inisherin, and I love him in most things that I see him in. And I'm very happy he was nominated, and I'm very happy he won a BAFTA. But there was more to Brendan Gleeson's performance. Like it's kind of what I said to you last week with the difference between Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors, Andrea. Like, and this is a level that Barry Keoghan will definitely get to, especially if he gets meatier characters to play. Just something like which Brendan Gleeson is able to do in a look or a gesture, other actors are not capable of. And his performance in Banshees is, despite how wild the story is of a man cutting off a finger every time he feels harassed by this person he doesn't want to be friends with anymore, how kind of comical that is. His performance is incredibly understated.
I would have been
at the same time, I'm happy for
facing mine as well.
Yeah, I'm happy for Ki-Yu-Kwan. I love a comeback.
And his speech was so emotional. Jesus.
Yeah, like as well, like what we're kind of disregarding. Like we'll get there with Michelle Yeoh as well. These awards for these people, particularly like Ki-Yu-Kwan, and now we're going to talk about Brendan Fraser as well. They're going to be career changing now. Yeah, like in the case of Brendan Fraser and Ki-Yu-Kwan, they're going to go from having virtually a dead career to being in demand again. And it's nice to see good people who are talented be in demand again.
True. And to be fair, let's be honest, Brendan Gleeson, I don't think Brendan Gleeson needs... No.
But is it about
everyone knows what an amazing actor he is.
I have
no, 100%. No, it's money, Francesca. I agree with you. I agree that this should be a award for the best supporting actor. But if someone's going to get it, as in knowing the politics behind it, if someone's going to get it, I'm glad it's Ki-Yu-Kwan getting it.
No, I get your point.
In this case, I'm glad it's Brendan Fraser getting it, who I think was also the best performance out of all of these, by the way. Francesca, make your point.
I actually haven't watched The Whale yet, so I can't comment.
Okay.
Honestly, I thought they were all very good performances, incredible performances on different levels. I know that you didn't like Elvis, Joe, but I thought Austin Butler was good. I thought he was very good, you know. I believed it.
He's the best Elvis impersonator I've ever seen. I'll give him that.
But yeah, no, I don't feel like I can comment yet. But you know, I don't feel like there's any room for argument in this because it always seemed like it was going to be him.
Joe, what was it? The Fraser-naissance? Something like that. I think I read Fraser-naissance.
The Brendan-naissance, the Fraser-naissance. There's a number of. No, I'm over the moon about this one because. Oh God, I was so sure that I was going to wake up this morning and there was going to be fucking Austin Butler giving an acceptance speech, still with the Elvis voice for some reason.
The Elvis voice,
and him claiming, oh, it's only because I was so close to the character that I'm stuck with his voice now. Even though I went and I did do part 2 when I spoke to other people in my regular Anaheim, California voice. I'm just going to act like I'm from fucking Memphis when I'm on the awards circuit. No, I think I would have loved to have seen Colin Farrell win as well because he was fantastic.
Yeah, I would have been happy with it. Paul Mescal.
Paul Mescal.
Come on, but being honest, you don't win an Oscar with a performance like Mescal had, and that's not to say it's not deserving. No. It's not the kind of performance that they award.
No, 100%.
I feel like Paul Mescal will have more chances.
Oh,
yes,
100%.
Absolutely. He's like 25.
He's an actor on the rise.
More chances.
Yeah, that is an actor on the rise.
Same with Barry Keoghan. They're going to be around for a while. They're very popular. But no, it's great. Like, and as well, just like the Brendan Fraser thing. Like, for someone who I kind of like grew up with, who was Rick O'Connell in The Mummy, and he was George of the Jungle, you know?
Yeah.
And then, like, he fell off the face of the earth to come back and win an Oscar in a Darren Aronofsky movie.
Oh,
I commend it.
perfection.
How much
This deserves a movie in itself.
How much
Francesca.
do you think this, what you just said, Joe, how much do you think this played in him actually winning the Oscar?
I mean,
Because
everyone
it's not
likes...
just you, right? It's everyone's childhoods. Many of the voters' childhoods, I imagine, or...
Yeah. I mean, everyone likes a comeback story. Everyone loves an underdog. It's the reason why Rocky became so popular. you know, to be on that subject. But then at the same
American
time,
dream.
I don't, like, genuinely, having seen all the films on this list, because I did watch Living. Genuinely, I think, just from a craft point of view, he is the best performance here.
I agree. I agree completely.
In a film which isn't perfect, and he is the glowing thing about it.
Fair enough, okay.
I
No,
agree
which
completely.
is good at least. I mean, because, you know, if it was only that, it would be a bit frustrating. But if he actually deserved it, then so be it. We'll have a comeback story.
Trust me, Francesca, he deserved it. The performance was,
Yeah.
wow. It had me in close to tears many times. That was the one upsetting thing, and it's of no fault to Brendan Fraser that the really the peak of his performance was on the fucking trailer. I hate it.
That being
when
said,
they put peak.
That being said, although I had seen that scene in the trailer because of how engrossed I was in that moment, it still hit pretty hard when I was in the cinema.
It hit.
And I was like literally stopping tears from coming out.
Yeah, same here. I was like, but I turned to my girlfriend and I was like, but you meant that was...
Yeah.
And he has some lines which are very good as a theory.
Yeah.
What was the line at one point? I turned to my girlfriend, like, who could love someone like me? Something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. Something on the lines of, who could love someone like me? I was like, that's a really tough thing to say.
Yeah.
But though the performance-wise, I'm so happy that Brendan Fraser won it. Fraser Renaissance, go for it. I'm looking forward to seeing him in more stuff. This was another big surprise to me. Not for a lot of people. For a lot of people, the expectation was, and then my prediction was Michelle Yeoh winning it. But even me predicting Michelle Yeoh would win it, for me, this is one of those awards that upsets me.
Yeah.
Francesca, your thoughts first
I'm
of all
also
about
very
this.
upset. Yeah, no, I mean, and again, it's not to say that she didn't deserve some sort of recognition, right? It was an incredible role, very physical, and definitely pat on the back, but she's no Kate Blanchett in Tar. I mean, like, when people told me their complaints about Tar, I said, but Kate Blanchett, like, I could just watch her walk across a room, and I just couldn't take my eyes off her. And that
what were the complaints about Tar, Francesca?
That it took too long to get, like, they kind of guessed what was going to happen. If you're looking at it as like a thriller kind of story, they kind of guessed what was going to happen, and it took too long to get there. But for me, it was not about that. It was just watching Lydia Tarr. That literally, that was the film for me. I just watched her, and I just didn't want to stop watching her. So for me, it was a no-brainer here, and I'm quite upset, but also
Agreed
not
completely.
totally surprised. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
they played the game.
Yeah. They played the game. Joe,
I'm not as upset. I don't think either performance was better than each other when it comes to Michelle Yeoh and Kate Blanchett in this way. And I say that specifically because for me, the roles and the performances are way too different to even put, like, they're a different sport from each other. It's you're comparing football to ice hockey. You know?
No, that's true.
They're
but
like for
football
you
more difficult or ice hockey?
I would say each are as difficult as each other.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
I don't know about ice hockey.
Do you play football on ice?
I'm going to be honest. I think football is quite an easy sport to play.
Yeah, well, I mean, this
isn't
the metaphor or the comparison that we're making. My point is just that
that I'm making a point here, Joe. I'm saying that a performance like Kate Blanchett's in Tar is so much harder than the performance Michelle Yeoh had to give in Everything Ever All at Once.
Disagree.
I think the Michelle Yeoh's performance, whilst very good, was also, I think, very obvious.
Disagree.
Whilst Tar, Lydia Tar, was such a complex, such a nuanced character. Like, I think it's no comparison, in my opinion.
No, disagree.
Joe.
Again, I'm not disagreeing that Cate Blanchett's performance is not fantastic. Again, I wish she was my mother. But, and again, it's incredibly nuanced. I love Tar, and it's a film I will go back to fairly often because of how many times you can rewatch that and find different things in it because of how layered it is. And I love the performance, one of my favorite things about it, and it's very deserving of an award. But again, for me, it's comparing different sports. Is Cate Blanchett capable in one movie of the sternness that Michelle Yeoh starts out with, and then transitioning to the earnestness that she's able to get through in the end and display that kind of character growth? And in between that, is she capable of holding the tone of the film in her hands? Because the tone of that film and how wacky it is, and it essentially becomes a fucking Looney Tunes episode for the middle section, and Michelle Yeoh keeps that grounded, is not an easy thing to do. And number 3, the physicality. Cate Blanchett has yet
100%.
Has yet to do something that impressive. And I think Andreas had put it really well in Prickly Pears on one of the comments, where he said, like, Michelle Yeoh is like Jet Li, but a serious actor at the same time of what she's capable of. You know, and again, it's different sports. For me, the top 2 to win were Cate Blanchett or Michelle Yeoh, and I'm happy with either of them. Again, to bring this back to like the Brendan Fraser and the Ke Huy Quan of it, Cate Blanchett has won 3 Oscars already. And this, okay,
100%.
You don't need to win another one, but Michelle Yeoh's life is going to fucking change because of this. She said in her acceptance speech, "Don't let anyone tell you that you've hit your peak." You know, she's a Chinese immigrant, 60 years old in Hollywood, who before was only known for these typecast roles, either as a fucking Bond girl or in these kung fu movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, stuff like that, you know? I think it was House of Flying Daggers. Sorry, I'm an idiot. This will change her career and her life.
And then she stars in fucking Witcher Blood Origins. Gesù Maria Madonna.
Look, everyone takes a paycheck. Adam Driver, need I remind you, Adam Driver did a little movie called 65, which I will talk about very soon.
Definitely. All right. To no one's surprise, the Daniels took Best Director, although I would have been very happy with a Martin McDonagh win.
Yes.
And I know it's an unpopular opinion here, but I would have been very happy with a Steven Spielberg win here as well, because I thought, obviously,
it's not as unpopular as you think. It's unpopular with me.
And me.
I love The Fabelmans. I adored The Fabelmans.
Come on.
Absolutely adored The Fabelmans. It's the movie.
I'll give you this,
That's
Andrea.
one of those movies made for me. I'll be honest.
It should have been made for me, because I don't think anyone likes a movie made about movies more than I do. But I'll give you this about The Fabelmans. It's definitely Spielberg's best film from 2009 onwards. But let's not forget, he's made a lot of dog shit in that time.
Yeah, The Terminal.
He's actually had a lot of misses from like 2005 onwards.
He has.
Hey, what about West Side Story?
But West Side Story, beautiful.
I'm going to invoke the Fifth Amendment and refuse to speak.
I adored West Side Story.
I
absolutely love West Side Story.
This horseshit if you're including it. But,
no, I don't think West Side Story is horseshit. I think it's fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was deserving of an Oscar by all means, but
the previous one to me, the one which I grew up watching, and not even from a nostalgic point of view, is better.
To conclude, Best Picture, guys. Obviously, the one everyone predicted would win. Everything Ever All at Once, except for Franco. Franco gave thought Elvis would win this.
What was Franco's
Thank God he was wrong. God, he was wrong.
Deserved? Yes. Francesca?
I mean, sure, like if we had to look at things maybe quite objectively, it wasn't my favorite. But it was a good film. It did new things. Look, for me, as long as it does new things and does them well, then we're somewhere there, you know. If something like Top Gun won, I would boycott the Oscars for the rest of my life. I mean, to be honest, the fact that it's even in that list is like very offensive to me. But
it saved cinema, that's why it's there. And it was fucking fun, man. It was so fun.
So was
Danger Zone.
Pingu was fun. It was featured the Oscars. Anyway, whatever.
True. The Danger Zone.
So a lot of people have had. I had some fun in Megan. Doesn't mean I'm nominating it for Best Picture.
Right?
Well,
I mean, I'm sure Cocaine Bears were a lot of fun, you know.
Maybe it should be nominated as well. No,
it was. Might as well nominate everything.
Well, but with Top Gun, there was artistry in Top Gun. Let's be honest. The cinematography, the effects. It was beautiful. I loved it. I know, obviously, performance-wise and dialogue-wise, it was super cheesy, but like just the pure action there was in it, and then
it should have just been nominated for cinematography. Stay there and don't.
I would have been fine with
that.
No, fair enough. I would have been fine with that. But it was so exhilarating to see in the cinema, and it's just one of those orgasmic movies. Very few movies have had me on my seat, and I'm like, what are you? And like the whole crowd, everyone watching it was doing that as well. And I was like, and that's how I haven't done that stuff in ages at the cinema, and Top Gun had me doing that, so I'll give it that. This is why I loved it so much. So yeah, anything else, guys, you want to add on Everything Everywhere All at Once winning this? I think we all expected this Best Picture win, right? I played the game.
Yeah,
deserved.
I think it's really cool that a movie I really loved when it first came out, and not that many people loved it, about a dead body which farts to save a man's life, that those guys have on their second film have won an Oscar. The guys that made the Turn Down for What music video, how cool is that? That they've won the biggest award in films.
True. All right, guys, so that was the news, and obviously the big focus there was the Academy Awards, 95th Academy Awards ceremony. What are your thoughts on the winners and the losers? The big winners was obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once and All Quiet on the Western Front. Losers, Elvis, thankfully, Tar, Fabelmans and Banshees getting zero Oscars. I can't believe Fabelmans and Banshees and Tar got 0 awards, man. Even saying it sounds bad, especially Banshees. I'm surprised. That was like a surefire winner for me. But anyways, let us know in the comment section below, guys, your thoughts about that, your thoughts about winners, your thoughts about the losers. As always, like, subscribe, follow all the socials, Twitter, the TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I think I mentioned all of them, right?
Most of them. It's fine.
Don't forget to follow those. Usually Franco does this part.
Yeah.
Okay, so final part of the show today. We're going to blast through this because I'm very, very hungry. We've got some reviews. Joe, you got to watch a very good movie, right? In 65, starring Adam Driver. Tell us, what did you think about it?
I didn't think about it. That's the thing. I can't tell you who this movie was directed about, and frankly, I don't care. Shit, where do I start with this? Okay, I'll start with how I ended up watching this film. It was basically, as I said, I had friends over from Ireland this weekend, and 2 of them had arrived, and one of them was arriving much later. So I said, okay, we'll drive down to the city centre, so then when he eventually arrives, we can all drive back, like, to my house in one car. And I said, to kill some time, let's go to the cinema. Like, my 2 friends both like films. And I decided, like, we decided to see what's on. I'd already seen Creed 3, so that was out. None of us really fancied going to Scream 6, because, like, we hadn't watched Scream 5 anyway. And we said, okay, 65. It looks like a dumbass movie with Adam Driver in space shooting dinosaurs. Which, like, if you give me that movie when I'm 7 years old, I'm like, fucking hell yeah, let's go. I want to shoot some space dinosaurs. And I did. Clive, if you're listening, you accused me of hating fun when I said this movie looks shit because of the trailer. And I'm here to confirm with you, movie is shit. But we went into it thinking, like, okay, maybe it'll be so bad it's good, you know? Maybe it's, like, really shit and we can make fun of it and we'll still have a really good time. I laughed twice in this film, and one of them was out of sheer pity. Like, and you know what really annoyed me? Like, Adam Driver is taking this incredibly seriously for some
that's a pity.
reason. Yes. So, like, again, why he's in it, I just don't get. But, like, in there is a really fun, self-aware sci-fi B-movie, because the concept is interesting of this guy crash lands on Earth, but it happens to be we're 65 million years ago when the dinosaurs were roaming the Earth. So, like, his civilization that, like, got there, like, it took him, like, I think 3 years to get to Earth. They're just from, like, a far-off galaxy, what we would refer to as aliens. That concept is interesting. You can do something fun with a film like that, but it's not. Like, it's really slow. I think there's there's 3 action set pieces in a movie about space dinosaurs. Like, then, like, it tries to go like in on these, like, survival elements where, like, he's, like, trying to survive and shit and, like, scanning loads of rocks so he has to get to this, like, escape pod. Well, it should have been, like, I mean, I don't think either of you will be familiar with this game. There was a game on the PlayStation 1 back in, like, 1999 called Dino Crisis, where you just there were dinosaurs everywhere and you shot them, you know.
Probably a budget thing, though, right, Joe? I would imagine, like, you can't have dinosaurs on too much.
I really don't know, because, like, it's already, like, a very CGI heavy film. And also, like, okay, this is going to be, like, a really stupid, like, nitpick from me. Really stupid, because, like, I know it's a movie. And I know it's, like, fictional, obviously. But none of the dinosaurs in this film are, like, era accurate to, like, what... Like, none of these dinosaurs in this film ever actually existed, like, once upon a time, from, like, what we know dinosaurs to be. And that is someone who
why would they invent?
Yeah, someone who loved dinosaurs as a kid. I was like, this is... At least give me a fucking T-Rex, you know?
Like, Jesus, there are so many fucking interesting dinosaurs.
Exactly, like,
why the hell would you invent?
I see a T-Rex and I relate to it, because at least I go, ooh, Jurassic Park, and I think about that for a second. But, like, I can't even recommend this film as, like, a so bad it's good watch. Or maybe you just have very different tastes to me. I really, really, like, and at an hour and 25 minutes, I believe it is, the film. An hour and 33, actually, including credits.
An hour 33.
It felt really long, and even, like, the ending, it kind of just ends. Like, it doesn't tie anything up of, like, what the main plot was. I actually
wrote Quiet Place, Joe Struck.
Here's the thing, because my friend mentioned this when we did it. So it's actually not the guy who wrote A Quiet Place. Quiet Place was a spec script, right? Both of them were, allegedly.
Oh.
Which then John Krasinski took and rewrote himself. So the original writers still get a credit on it because it's like they wrote what was a final draft, and John Krasinski took it and is like, no, this is my final draft.
Oh crap! That explains a lot.
Yeah, this is like, I'm taking this really good concept that you have, like the concept, as I said, for 65 is pretty good as far as like a fun science fiction film would go, and he's like, I'm gonna make this better because obviously you guys aren't doing that. But yeah, 65, don't recommend it. Half a star out of 5 if I was giving it a star rating.
Okay. So that is 65. Don't go watch it, basically. It's coming out very late in Malta, like a week or so. And I thought it was on the 22nd, so like next week. Don't know why it's taking so long to release, but I'll probably just avoid it now at this point.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk really quickly. I'm just going to sprint through these. First of all, this series, season 1 of Poker Face, just finished last Thursday. And now, as Joe will know, I have a real love-hate relationship with Rian Johnson. He was the creator and producer of the whole thing, and I absolutely loved it. I thought the opening first 3 episodes, because the series released the first 3 episodes on day 1. I thought they were very solid episodes, and they intrigued me. It's basically episodic. You've got, you always start off with the same structure in these episodes. You see the depiction of a crime taking place, and then you've got the whole element of the whodunit. You know who's done it because you've seen the crime, but you see Charlie Cale, who is Natasha Lyonne, trying to solve the crime. And basically, you obviously have the risk that it becomes very repetitive, but thankfully, thanks to some very, very solid writing here, that is not the case. We've got a very, very charismatic performance by Natasha Lyonne, who I adore. She is excellent. The set pieces where each one of these episodes take place are beautiful. Mountain landscapes. There's one set in a racetrack. So the settings are all very diverse, all beautifully shot. Especially beautifully shot was episode 8, which was actually directed by Natasha Lyonne herself, which I found very interesting. So she starred and directed it as well, called The Orpheus Syndrome. Also had Nick Nolte and Cherry Jones, because this series has a ton of guest stars. Like, I have a whole list of guest stars here. There's Hong Chow, there's Tim Meadows, Ellen Barkin, Judith Light, Chloe Sevigny, Nick Nolte, Cherry Jones, as I said, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ron Perlman, Tim Blake Nelson, so Adrian Brody as well is in this. So there's a ton of guest stars in Poker Face, and they're all very, very good performances. To be honest, by episode 5-6, I thought things were slowing down and starting to still get a tiny little repetitive. Thankfully, episode 8 came up, which was this one that I was referring to, the one directed by Natasha Lyonne, which was excellent. Episode 9 was the best of the bunch. I thought episode 9 was beautifully shot again, and brilliant performances there. And ends up with a very, very interesting season finale, leaves space for a season 2, which apparently there will be. So, with regard to Poker Face, highly recommended. 10 episodes. Each episode is between 45 to 55, 60 minutes long, but highly recommended. I loved it. I would give this around a 4 out of 5. I think 4.5 out of 5, somewhere on that range. So that was Poker Face. Quick also review for Scream 6. It's more Scream, basically. Bigger budget than Scream 5. Set in New York. So there's like more potential for more like diverse killings. This particular Ghostface was brutal, I'll be honest. He was a really, really powerful Ghostface. I loved this Ghostface. I'm writing Ghostface. And so, I mean, to be honest, there's not much to say about this. Just, yeah, really, really well done movie. And apparently there's going to be a Scream 7 because this, again, was a big hit at the box office. I enjoyed it. Again, it was a 10:15 screening, Saturday morning. It was just me and a couple more other guys who all look like potential serial killers. And yeah, it was fun. Hope none of them watch the podcast, to be honest. So yeah, I had a blast. Really enjoyed it. This is how you make a strong female protagonist. I think that this series of movies have always done the female protagonist element really well, and Scream 5 and Scream 6 especially do that really well, because you create really powerful, really strong female protagonists who are real badasses without making the male characters feel super weak, basically. So I think this is the ideal way to go, and I think Marvel should have a good look at this to see how to write their female protagonists, to be honest. So overall, negatives with regard to Scream 6, I would say, because I made a note of this, sometimes the stakes felt a little off, because, you know, it always happens with these movies, like the side characters all die and the main characters kind of somehow survive. Like, even if they get stabbed like 50 times, and you're like, you should be dead. You shouldn't be walking around. And characters are just stabbed endlessly in the stomach and then wake up and punch another character, and you're like, yeah, that's taking a bit too far. But it's Scream, so I mean, what do you expect? So there's that. There's one particular character who is stabbed like 20 times in the chest, chum, 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 chum. And yeah, he walks it off. So there's that. But it's Scream, so I mean, who cares? It's good. It's a solid movie. It's a fun time at the cinema. I would give this a 3.5 out of 5. Happy that we're getting the Scream 7, to be honest. Quick comment about Last of Us. Joe. There's one comment I want to say about The Last of Us, having watched all 9 episodes now.
Okay.
And I think that, having watched all 9 episodes, I'm going to call this The Last of Us diet version. It's good. Very good. It's excellent. But having watched all 9 episodes now, I think this is the diet version. I think we could have gotten 1-2 more episodes, which would have fleshed the whole thing up a bit more. Give us more of that delicious clickers action that we want.
But that's the thing, though,
more
right?
time to develop the relationship between Joel and Ellie, which I think needed at least one more episode.
I said
one more episode of tense action, and I think it would have been a 10 out of 10 for me.
I don't know.
It needed 1-2 more episodes.
I haven't seen the finale, obviously. But I think if you're going for 2 more episodes, I think then you really run the risk of it really just being filler, like for action's sake. Maybe 1 more episode.
No, or maybe 1 more episode. Or what about episode 7? What about episode? What was it? 7 was the flashback one.
Like Left Behind, is in?
7 was the DLC, right?
Yeah, 7 was the DLC, Left Behind.
What did you think about that one, Joe? By the way, because I forgot.
I enjoyed it. I think that it's funny because I feel like that you obviously in the game, again, because of the nature of the gameplay loop, where when you're not fighting things like fighting for your life, you're walking around as Joel with Ellie following you, and they're having a bit of a back and forth, and you're picking shit up and you're crafting stuff. In the game, you obviously get to know the characters that way. I feel like they had to do the Left Behind stuff in order to really give Ellie that background, because you're watching it and you're not playing it, because you don't have those moments of just scavenging for shit and crafting things, and also dying repeatedly and hearing some of the same conversations over and over again. So I feel like it was necessary. I enjoyed that episode. It was very well done.
And episode 8 I enjoyed as well, although I think it's probably one of the weaker episodes, to be honest.
Really?
Episode 8, yes, I think it's one of the weaker episodes. I mean, some of them have to be like overall. It was good. Again, it was very good. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
For me, the weakest episode was episode 4, and it's still a very good episode. Well, but 4
I would say probably 7 was the one I least enjoyed. 7, 8, 9 was very good. By the way, 9 was very good. A little rushed. True, very cool, very rushed. I won't say which parts were rushed, but there are some powerful moments. There are some very powerful, and they're not the moments you think you're probably thinking about, Joe. By the way.
I want to say I like how spoiled we're kind of being, because even when this show first got announced, as a big fan of the games, I was like, fuck this is going to be a fucking disaster like every video game adaptation. And then we get given this like fucking art of high TV, and we're like, you know what?
Yes.
It's good, you know, but is it that good? And like,
because the game is. Have you played the game, Francesca? The Last of Us?
No, I haven't. I think it's something that I would enjoy.
Play the game. You would.
Yes.
You definitely enjoy it.
I haven't got around to that.
The game is excellent. The game is
but
beautiful.
Again, I mean,
I'm beautiful.
I'm the big supporter of. Yes, the game is fantastic, but we are in a totally different medium here.
Yes.
So I always remind myself of that, and like why things have to be different, and why they made certain choices that make more sense.
Yes. No, that I understand, and I agree on. Just wish, man, at least one more episode, man. Give us some tense moments. That would have helped a lot. I think that would have helped the series.
Again, I think season 2, at least when they start covering Last of Us Part 2, apart from that being a much bleaker experience overall in Part 2.
Jesus.
It is generally a much more action-packed game as well. The first game is a lot quieter, a lot more contained. So I think now that HBO can fully support it, knowing how popular it is, and that regardless, it's going to be watched every week and it's going to make money for them, I think they're going to go balls to the wall with season 2.
Yes, I think so. It's been a big success, and have you seen the viewership? The viewership has exploded since episode
it's ridiculous.
I never remember seeing viewership kind of like exploding from episode 1 till the final episode, just like going always up. It's impressive.
It was making
like,
jumps
shows how
of like
word of mouth.
Yeah, it was making jumps of like 10 to 15% viewership increase per episode.
Which is truly impressive. Word of mouth really works in these kinds of situations.
Like, end of the day, it's great, because it could have been a disaster, as I said.
It could have been a disaster, and the expectations were obviously very, very high, because again, the game was a masterpiece. I'll come out and say it. The game, I think, was a masterpiece of storytelling. The gameplay in the first game was good, not great. I'll be honest. I didn't think the gameplay was amazing.
It was made,
the storytelling,
I think, in 2011, 2013, something like that. So it's been a while.
No, but even playing it back then, I still thought that the gameplay was not its like strongest element. Last of Us 2, the gameplay was brilliant.
Yes, no, it's refined.
Brilliantly. Much more refined. Obviously, then in Last of Us 1, the story was...
Yeah, it's tighter.
Beautiful. Much tighter. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Francesca, I don't know if there's any movies or series you'd like to talk about really quickly before we close it off.
Nothing at this point. You'll have to invite me again after I've watched stuff that isn't
yes.
Oscar stuff.
I mean, March is packed.
Yeah.
March is packed, and there's a lot of 10-15 screenings you can check out on Saturday or Sunday morning.
I'll see you at the 10-15 screening of Dungeons and Dragons.
It'll be probably, if you come, there'll be me, there'll be like 2 or 3 nerds. I think the serial killers were just for the Scream movie. I swear I could have heard one of them almost orgasm during the kills. I swear. It's like, shit, this guy is gonna take out a knife any moment now. And like recreate screaming in the cinema. I was a little scared, to be honest. But yeah, these 10-15 screenings, man, they're fun. Highly recommend it. Minus the serial killers.
I'm convinced. It's so mozzarella.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we can end it here. I am so hungry, man. My stomach has been grumbling for like 10-15 minutes. So we can close it here, guys. All right. Thanks so much, Francesca, for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
I really had a good time.
Same.
Chatting. Definitely, if you wish, you will join us again.
For sure.
Thanks so much, Joe, as always.
Always a pleasure.
It's been a blast. Joe, I think next week we can dedicate some a lot of time to just reviewing the whole of The Last of Us as a whole, together with Franco as well.
We'll have our special spin-off as well, where you and I go head to head,
and then we'll have our season 2. I don't think we'll go as head to head as you think we will, Tom, because
we'll see.
There are elements that I like. There are elements which I disagree with.
We'll see.
We'll talk about that.
Fair warning. I'm gonna have my baseball bat with nails put through it just in case.
I have the shotgun ready. Okie dokies. Been a blast as always. Thanks so much for watching, guys. As always, like, subscribe, follow all the socials, do all that jazz. We need the support. Cheers, and I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Ciao.